The Penguins put a 5-game home winning streak on the line here tonight against a team that has more road wins than any other team in the Eastern Conference, the Capitals with 10. Hello again, everybody. Happy holidays. Bob Arie is downstairs to watch the two Russians go head-to-head here tonight.
Yeah, it should be a real treat. You got Evgeny Malkin for the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's leading them. 16 goals and 41 points for Evgeny Malkin. In Malkin's career, 673 points in 552 games, but he's getting dirtier than he used to. He's scoring from the inside. He's taking a beating to do it. That's the way you got to do it in this game. In the grade 8, well, he's been one of the great all-time goal scorers in the last 10 years. 16 this year, 438 over 713 games for the first overall pick in 2004. Barry Trotz has made him into a plus player. He's playing both sides of the ice right now, Staggy.
Should be a tremendous atmosphere here tonight at the Consol Energy Center. Let's go down on the ice. It's the Pens and the Caps on Root Sports.
Please welcome tonight's Trib Total Media hometown hero, Alan Herringer from the Ford City, PA. Al is a life member of the Ford Cliff Volunteer Fire Department, a full-time paramedic for the Ford City Ambulance Services, and has his CPR first aid instructor for the American Heart Association. Please rise, remove your hats, and direct your attention to the flags above the scoreboard. At this time, please welcome back Miss Aisha Scott, as together with one voice we all sing the Star-Spangled Banner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the Rockies' red glare and the lovebirds singing air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free
The 35th game of the season for these two clubs, and the first time they've met this season. And here's our Rivers Casino tips to win.
Now the Penguins want to get off to a quick start. You know, the Capitals are 16-1-2 when they score first, 1-10-4 when they don't. That's a big one. And that guy, look at that hair. He's ready to go. The grade 8, Ovechkin, you got to contain him. And I think the Penguins have to get to the net to score. Braden Holtby has played 12 straight. Marc-Andre Fleury, the key is starting goaltender, still looking for win number 20, Steggy.
He's won 6 straight and then last 5 at home against the Capitals. And Braden Holtby, man, he's making his 18th straight appearances, 12th consecutive start. He's really playing well. He's got a new goalie coach in Mitch Korn. And there's Mike Johnston, who has had to juggle his lineup. He'll get some people back here tonight. And he goes with an interesting starting line with Sutter playing in the middle between Malkin and Hornquist. And we get a battle on the opening draw between Tom Wilson and Evgeny Malkin, who whacks Malkin with a stick as the puck is thrown to the net. So Tom Wilson getting right into the face of Evgeny Malkin before they even drop the puck.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. You know, Malkin's not, you know, center turn winger, and they don't have the hash marks separating you in that opening faceoff. And Malkin and Tom Wilson, who's got 69 penalty minutes. Tom Wilson, he's a big body. In 23 games was shouldering up with Malkin.
We got Wilson up on that top line here tonight, playing with Nicholas Backstrom and Alexander Ovechkin. All three are first-round picks, and they started with Orpik and Carlson on defense. They're also first-round picks. So all 5 players in the Capitals starting lineup, first-round draft choices. There's a chance for Wilson. Save made by Fleury, and Taking the puck is Backstrom. Back to Gross and a drive. And that one went whistling high and off the glass. Big hit down there in the corner. Moving up on the play was Brooks Orpik. And now it's Chris Letang taking it and moving it on the wing for Evgeny Malkin. Ovechkin knocks him down. That's 122 hits now for Alexander Ovechkin. He is 5th in the league in hits. Malkin has 11, just to give you the difference between the two players and how they approach the game. Ovechkin has been running over people, according to their coach, Barry Trotz. Puck is thrown to the net from long range. Fleury seemed to be surprised a bit by that. Kind of looked up and said, boy, I was fortunate there. He made the save, and now Carl Alsner throws the puck back to the goal, and it's gloved down by Fleury.
Well, sometimes saying contain Ovechkin is easier said than done. Take a look at this pass by Ovechkin, playing the off wing, gets it on the backhand, feeds Wilson right on his tape. Wilson chops it up. Good luck for the Penguins there. And then Malkin tries to make a move on Ovechkin, who bowls him over. As you mentioned, 122 hits, a +5, 16 goals on the season for Alexander Ovechkin. And he scored 16 of his 23 versus the Penguins here in Pittsburgh.
Puck is dumped to the corner. Jason Magna back in the lineup for the Penguins. Recall from Wilkes-Barre. Playing in his natural position on the right wing. Be interesting to see how he performs here tonight. Playing on a third line. Magna playing with Nick Spaulding and Marcel Gottsch. The puck is dumped in. Robert Bortuzzo, who missed 5 games with an injury and illness, is back in the lineup for the Penguins. Rand Dumoulin is scratched. Scott Harrington paired up with Letang, Scuderi and Dupre, and it's Pouliot and Bortuzzo. Those are the defense pairings for the Penguins here tonight. Dumped in now by number 92, Evgeny Kuznetsov. Another first-round pick of the Capitals. They have 12 of them of their own picks, and then a total of 14 in the lineup, including Matt Niskanen and Brooks Orpik.
I think you just mentioned Niskanen and Orpik and Sidney Crosby. I think Mike Johnson's trying to keep Crosby away from Orpik in this one.
Kuznetsov moves it to the right wing. Quick passing. Johansson's shot. Johansson's shot is blocked by Dupre. And a great defensive play. And the Penguins quickly come the other way. Crosby swoops into the middle. And it goes off his stick. Scuderi can't get there to hold it in, and Letang will take it now at center.
Well, that was a great block already by Simon Dupre early in this hockey game. Something that Brooks Orpik would have done for the Penguins, laying the body down to sacrifice. Beautiful.
Mike Latta moves into the right wing, and a quick shot misses the net. It's off the corner boards and up and out of play, and we'll get a face-off here. I think it's at the Penguin zone. It is to the left of Fleury.
There's the block by Simon Dupre. Kuznetsov goes to the net. Johansson takes the shot. Takes a little too long to get rid of it, and great job there by Simon Dupre, who's, well, really been throwing his body around more ways than one.
The fourth line of the Capitals, Jay Beagle, Andre Burakovsky, and Mike Latta on the ice now for Barry Trotz's club. Bobby Farnham tried to get it out. Fourth line of the Penguins, Bobby Farnham, Andrew Ebbett, and Rob Klinkhammer. This is Latta. Jumps off the blade of his stick. He tried to get it deep, couldn't do so. Penguins are able to force it back to center ice. Picked up now by Bobby Farnham. And he will dump the puck in as usual. Klinkhammer gets in there to get it. Rob Klinkhammer, Bobby Farnham. Farnham pulling his way, trying to get to the puck. He came out of there with it, but then it goes wandering off his stick. Jay Beagle gets some help from Burakovsky. He moves it across the ice to defenseman Mike Green. And he centered one off the stick of Beagle. It went all the way to the corner. Picked up now and carried back to center. This is Derek Pouliot showing good jump there out of his own zone. He fired it into the corner. Too much on it as it ricocheted all the way back to center. Penguins change down the right wing. It's Ovechkin faking and shooting. And he fired it high and wide off the glass.
Well, you can't back up on him. Letang gave him that extra stride. He can score from there. Ovechkin, that was a wicked shot with that wicked curve.
Letang is right back at Ovechkin after he had bumped him a couple of times. It'll be an interesting battle to watch here tonight. Brooks Orpik usually had the assignment on Ovechkin. Now he's a teammate. Here's Backstrom with it to Ovechkin. Back for Backstrom. One pass too many. Good breakup of that pass by Derek Pouliot. Excellent defensive play. And now Ovechkin tried to barge his way to the net and lost control of the puck. So Pouliot found himself facing Ovechkin trying to go to the net. Now we get a penalty coming up here. And the Penguins are going to be shorthanded.
Now this one's interesting here because Sutter had his stick. It looked like underneath the arm of Wilson, who clamped down on it and was able to draw the penalty, but the Penguins turned the puck over just inside their line, and that is Malkin who turns it over, and the puck goes the other way. Ovechkin doesn't shoot it, tries to make a play. You can't turn it over there. And you see Wilson, how he tucks the stick underneath his arm to draw that penalty. Supermo shows you that. Thank you, Allegheny Health Network. And the Penguins will need to kill without Sutter.
That's what they had to do the last couple of games with Sutter ill and not on the trip in Florida. He had to leave from Florida and miss those 2 games down there before Christmas. The Capitals have the #1 ranked power play in the NHL. It's only 3 for the last 21, however.
Yeah.
Here's a shot by Carlson and missed the goal. They've got their second unit on the ice at the moment. Joel Ward right in front of the net. Niskanen and Carlson at the point. And the shot misses again off the corner boards. It comes back out to center and handled there by Carlson. They're going to want to get their top unit on if they can.
They drew the penalty, that top unit, so they had to get a little bit of a breather.
Evgeny Kuznetsov dumps it to the near wing where Matt Niskanen takes it. Niskanen has 2 goals this season, both of them on the power play for the Capitals. And now Fleury moves it along for Dupre, and he didn't get enough on it to get it out, but Andrew Ebbett helps out, and he does work at the center. Nice play by Crosby on a penalty kill. He's got Ebbett going to the net. Shot, great save by Holtby with the left pad standing up. And what a saucer pass by Crosby.
Well, Crosby in flight, blue line to blue line on the penalty kill with Sutter in the box, and Holtby moving from left to right. Somehow was able to keep that left edge right on the ice and stop Ebbett on a one-timer.
It was almost like an old-time hockey save.
Yeah, it really was, and it looked unorthodox. It was a tough play by Holtby. He came across standing up, but he had to kind of leave that left leg back a little bit. And wow, pretty good in his 13th straight start.
Here's Johansson coming over the line, dropping it off. Capitals moving the puck quickly. Ovechkin with a blast. And that one had to sting Fleury as it came up high around the collarbone area. Here's Ovechkin again. He tried to work it down low for Brouwer. Brouwer behind the net for Johansson, but stolen away and cleared by Kunitz.
Brouwer's got to be ready for that feed from Ovechkin. He had everybody stiff as a board trying to block a shot.
Here goes Hornquist firing, and a glove save made by Holtby. Well, Braden Holtby's dad played. His name was Greg, and he played for the University of Saskatchewan, and he told me today that his dad taught him how to play goal like the old-time goalie, standing up, which is what he did earlier.
Now look at Sidney Crosby chip it by the defense. There's the feed, a little aerial pass to Ebbett. He's got to get it in the air over the stick of Green. He does that. Holtby with the left toe save, and Marc-Andre Fleury, the other end, had to stop Ovechkin. Luckily, just once. Nobody shoots the puck as hard as Ovechkin with that snapshot in the league, and I'm amazed every time I see it. And there's no way a goalie can react.
Can he even see it is the question.
Barely. You got to guess a little bit, but it comes off the stick. It comes off that curve like a highlight. What was the name of that highlight implement, Stagg? We looked that up last year. I can't remember.
I can't. We look it up every year, I think.
Well, Sutter's out of the box right now, and the Penguins get the kill.
Dupre banks it off the boards, and it finds its way up into the Capital zone, so the Penguins are able to survive that first Capitals power play. And you heard Bobby gave you the numbers. They're 16-1-2 when they score first, 1-10-4 when they do not. So it's a huge aspect to this game here tonight, that first goal.
Boy, the Penguins have turned the puck over a few times right at that blue line. Look out.
Johansson to the goal, and another sliding defensive play there to break it up, that time by Robert Bortuzzo. Now Kunitz with it. He dishes it off for Bortuzzo. Bortuzzo and Pouliot playing together, and first time they've ever played with one another. And how important is familiarity, Bob, in your opinion, with the defense pairings at this level?
Well, I think these guys, they practice with different pairings just in case. And we've already seen the Penguins been decimated with injury this year. And as soon as one guy goes down, they've been familiar with the other, playing with other players. But I think it is an issue. I like a left on the left and a right on the right. And if you don't have familiarity, there's going to be a little bit of hesitation. That's all the game's greats need.
Here's Marcel Gottsch in the corner. He is bumped by Matt Niskanen. And the Capitals able to work the puck back to center. Wilson dumps it up into the Penguin zone. Back to get it goes Chris Letang. Letang lost control of the puck. He bumped into a Capital on the near boards and knocked him down with Backstrom. And now the puck back to the front of the net. Harrington cleared it. And Gottsch able to sure it got back out to center ice.
Some big hits here already. Tom Wilson just got flattened by Letang after Letang turned the puck over. The Penguins got to protect that puck a little more. They're just turning it over in the neutral zone. There's another one. They need close, tight support on these breakouts.
Big collision. Uh-oh, Sutter. He got shaken up there in that collision with Tom Wilson.
Yeah.
Wilson is a huge guy. 20 years old, 6'4", 210 pounds. And Sutter went back to the bench slowly.
Yeah, he didn't catch him cleanly, Staggy, and a lot of times you can just get a piece of a guy that hurts more than not. There's going to be a penalty here.
Actually, Sutter's still on the ice, so I correct myself on that one, and now we get a penalty coming up.
Well, Sutter's over in the official's face right now. He's not liking the situation. Looks like Brouwer may be going to the box. Penguins are going to the power play after that big hit.
Nice to see them acknowledge Brooks Orpik on the big board here, and he was standing over by the bench, and obviously an emotional moment for Brooks as everybody stood and thanked him for his years of service and helping the Penguins win a Stanley Cup in 2009. Matt Niskanen also had a great year last year to lead all Penguin defensemen in scoring, and just a tremendous person, a guy that we really became fond of very quickly, Matt Niskanen. Todd Reardon also now with the Capitals as the assistant coach, a defensive coach, and helping Niskanen and Orpik get acclimated in Washington. Penguins are on a power play here, UPMC Sports Medicine power play. Brouwer's in the box, Crosby to the puck, able to whack it over into the area where Chris Letang could dump it in, and is picked up by Hornquist in the corner. Centers it very quickly. It goes past everybody and back into the Penguin zone.
Well, Staggy, after that great applause and recognition for Brooks Orpik, Chris Kunitz said enough of that, and he just tattooed Brooks Orpik after Orpik was kind of looking around. And boy, you cannot let your guard down when Kunitz is on the ice.
Malkin across for Crosby off a stick, but Sid will move it back to the point to Letang. Now Malkin takes the pass. Gino to Sid. Letang, a blast, and a save by Holtby. Hornquist was in front looking for a redirect. Now Niskanen over to get it. And he's hit by Kunitz. But Kunitz is throwing his weight around here on this power play. Malkin got knocked down by Joel Ward. And
yeah, let's take a look at some of the work by the Penguins. Hard hitting Chris Kunitz, the main man, and he really hit Orpik solid, real solid. You can see his knees buckle Orpik as he went down. And the Penguins, after that big save by Holtby, Hornquist right on that doorstep. Kunitz just decided he was going to lay off on Niskanen. So, well, no friends here on the ice right now.
Carlson wound it around. Backstrom couldn't get it out. Good pass to Rust. The shot, saved by Holtby. The rebound cleared.
Two good passes. Dupre to Pouliot over to the wing. And on the second power play, Derek Pouliot is known for his great passing. Yeah, he can finish off plays, but his vision real good out here. And you're not really losing much with Pouliot on your power play, despite the fact he's only played a few games in the National Hockey League. It's just so proficient on the power play.
Just comes naturally to him, it appears.
Yep.
Now Pouliot with it with only 4 seconds remaining on this penalty. And the Penguins are going to come up short too on the man advantage. So each team has failed to score with a power play opportunity just past the halfway mark of the first period. The Caps have been good against the Metropolitan Division, 8-2-2. The Penguins are 5-4-3 within the division. Currently, the Capitals are sitting in the last wild card spot in the standings. Here's Ebbett dancing around a man, but he fell down. Ebbett able to work it off the side of the cage. Bobby Farnham trying to stuff it in. Puck still available there, maybe because Farnham poked it out of the glove of the goaltender, and the Capitals take exception to that.
Well, it wasn't quite frozen. Like Holtby was laying by that right post. The Capitals defenseman just laid the puck there. And now Farnham is...
He's literally ushered all the way to the neutral zone.
He's doing what he wants to do. He's trying to be a distraction out there against the game's greats. There's no score in this game. You guys on the power play, you're equally as physical out there on the power play. What are you trying to accomplish by doing that?
Just make them turn pucks over so we can get the rebounds and find those loose pucks and go at them again. We got to go in, make sure it's hard on them, make sure if there's any kind of contact, they can't shoot the puck down 200 feet.
What did Brooks Orpik and Matty Niskanen mean to you? That was quite a round of applause from the people here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think everybody knew that they were hardworking players. Every time they went on the ice, they're going to give it their best effort for their team. They were always team-first guys with blocking shots or taking big hits to make plays. They were good teammates, part of the business and moving on.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Patrick Hornquist just got hit by a shot from his teammate Scott Harrington, and he went limping back to the bench, favoring his left skate, so that shot went off his left leg.
Yeah, friendly fire, if you will, Staggy, and not good there. And he's always in the lane of the shot, trying to, impede the goalie's vision, but that one he couldn't get out of the way.
Harrington shot it hard, and it really went right off the left leg or left foot. There's a shot by Malkin, and that's blocked away. And now Letang races over to keep it in the offensive zone. Letang slams on the brakes and is hit by Carlson, knocked down. Sutter back on the ice for the Penguins. He had gone to the room after that big hit by Tom Wilson. He came back out and he's on the ice. Here's Ovechkin. Now he goes to the bench. Sutter does. Ovechkin to the corner. Is hit by Brian Rust. And Evgeny Malkin has the puck. It's Malkin, Crosby, and Rust at the moment. Malkin goes to the bench. Sidney Crosby staying out here, joining him or his line mates. A shot taken by Backstrom is blocked away to the corner. This is a very physical game. And a big hit down there by Ovechkin on Jason Megna, who was able to shrug that off. Now Ovechkin goes back to the bench as the Penguins go back into their own zone. Another hit by Brouwer. And you can just hear how physical the Capitals are playing against the Penguins and vice versa. And everybody finishing their checks here in the first period. Alsner goes back for it. Niskanen set it out to center. Crosby tried to drop it back on defense, and it ends up being dumped in by Johansson. Johansson on the ice with Brouwer and Kuznetsov. And the puck is taken now at center ice by Green. Over on left wing for Johansson, out of his reach, and taken by Simon Dupre of the Penguins to Scuderi. Back for Dupre. Penguins make a change from the bench on the fly, and Spalling winds it up now for the Penguins. Nick Spalling into the Capital zone. Spalling trying to barge through everybody. Still has the puck in deep. Played for Barry Trotz in Nashville, as did Hornquist. Spalling now behind the net. Spalling turns and shoots it, and Holtby the save, and the rebound up for grabs for a moment there. Scuderi races over, but not able to get there in time. And he'll backpedal now and find Marcel Gotch in the middle.
The Capitals play vastly different. They're a tighter team, a tighter unit. There's the dump in. You get a little bit of interference, and the Caps come out with a puck. They're coming out as a unit. Units of 5. You really can sense how tight they are. And before, I thought they were a scattered hockey team. Guys playing here and all over there. And Barry Trotz, no surprise, playing as a unit of 5 here.
And Barry Trotz said we were too much of a white-collar team before. He said we want to be more of a blue-collar team. And certainly that would appear to be the case so far. When you have a guy like Brooks Orpik added to your lineup, that certainly will happen. Now here's Lotta after the puck. Hustling back to clear it was Bortuzzo. And now picked up by Evgeny Malkin. He looked ahead and ended up dumping the puck in. Just didn't have anybody to pass the puck to, and eventually just got rid of it and iced it. So they'll bring it back into the Penguin zone.
Let's take a look at what happened to Patrick Hornquist. And the shot by Harrington. Penguins on a face-off. Hornquist in the middle, and there's just the shot. He lifted the left leg up and caught it right under that knee area, high in the shin. And Hornquist back on the ice right now. And you got to watch out for Ovechkin on these face-offs. He can come right off the wall and whip it to the net.
Sutter against Backstrom and won the draw. Ovechkin over to Carlson, and his turning shot wide of the goal. Pouliot to the puck. It's been interesting to see Derek Pouliot. I mean, you talk about being thrown into the deep water. He's out here playing against Alexander Ovechkin on defense. Now here's Hornquist, hit hard on the near wall by Brooks Orpik. Back to the corner. Evgeny Malkin gets in on Carlson and bumps him. And it comes around now for Tom Wilson. Wilson got knocked down over there by Hornquist. He gets himself up slowly. It's going to be a penalty on Hornquist as Holtby goes to the bench in favor of an extra attacker.
Well, this is a man's game right now. There's big bodies. Every hit here has been a solid hit so far in this hockey game. These two teams bringing out the best in each other right now.
The heavy artillery. Oh, boy. Now the puck into the corner taken by Ovechkin. No, he had it go off his stick, and the Penguins get possession to draw the whistle.
Well, Hornquist is on the players' bench right now. He's going to have to go take a seat by himself after the hit on Wilson. His legs came up, tripped him up. He'll go off.
Trotz and Mike Johnston both had their respective power play units running near the top of the National Hockey League for a good portion of the season so far, but over the last 10 games or since December 4th, that has not been the case. The Capitals entering tonight just 6th for their last 33. The Penguins just 3 for their last 35. We spoke to Mike Johnston about it on the pregame show, and he's like, well, you know, we haven't had a lot of the same bodies that we had to start the season. Those bodies are slowly coming back. Hopefully, the Penguins get that ship pointed back in the right direction.
Right now, the penalty kill, which has killed 15 of the last 16, is back at it again because the Capitals are on the power play with Hornqvist going off for tripping. The Capitals 0 for 1, registered only one shot on their first power play opportunity. Here's Green with it, a very dangerous player who once scored 30 goals in this league. Green with it at the blue line to the near side. Ovechkin with that one-timer, and it was wide of the goal. They're getting them open and getting him shots. Some of them are going to go in. Brooks Orpik used to get over there and kind of get right in his face. Now here's Falling with a second chance to get it out, and he does.
Yeah, the Penguins might want to try the same thing, because if he gets one through, the Marc-Andre Fleury just can't react. And if it finds a spot, he's going to score a goal. And Green is so dangerous, Staggy, on these power plays, because he can distribute the puck right onto a golden platter there for Ovechkin.
He actually had 31 goals on the season. Here's Johansson to the goal. Fleury got his right pad down to stop Marcus Johansson, who went right to the paint. Now Letang made us to handle the puck all the way into the attacking zone. Short-handed, left it there for Gotch. He got bumped, and then the puck came right to Johansson. 4 Penguins are back, and he's hit on the near boards by Scott Harrington. And Fleury sets it up behind the goal. And now off the glass, it is cleared by Letang, the length of the ice. 45 seconds to go in the penalty to Patrick Hornqvist.
Well, Johansson found himself in behind the Penguins penalty killers, and looked like he just kind of tripped as he was going to the net. Marc-Andre Fleury making another big save.
Fleury couldn't get it all the way out as he threw it up off the glass. Back to the corner it goes. There's Dupre with a nice play to get it up the wall for Sutter, and he makes sure it goes 200 feet.
Yeah, and look at this. The Penguins pressing Holtby, trying to disrupt the breakout of the Washington Capitals. This is a good thing right now. Even Kunitz doing it somewhat in this neutral zone.
Kunitz out here on the penalty kill. Penguins do not have Greg Adams at their disposal tonight, one of their regular penalty killers. Now Dupre finds himself between 2 Capitals, does a really nice job to handle the puck there and get it out to center ice. Where Dupre gaining more and more confidence. Now he's getting a chance to kill penalties too. With Paul Martin on the shelf. And Christian Ehrhoff.
Yeah, so his minutes go from about 12 a game to 16, 17. Simon Dupre, who's just really beaming with confidence right now.
Matt Niskanen to the puck. Hornqvist out of the penalty box, applying pressure. Crosby on the ice, as well as Evgeny Malkin. And it's Brooks Laich down the wing. Slips the check of Letang, finds Beagle. He threw it in front. It's loose, and they score. The Capitals jamming in. Eric Fehr right there on the doorstep, I believe, will get the goal. And that doesn't surprise me, because Fehr has 7 goals now in 21 games against the Penguins if it's his goal.
Yeah, and it may have went off Letang. One of the defensemen for the Penguins put his stick down as Fehr tried to shuffle that puck out in front. I couldn't tell eventually how it went in, but speed wide on Letang. And then you see that Beagle puts his pass out in front. You can see the stick of Harrington stops it, and then yes, Fehr is able to just chip it over that right pad, or right by that right pad of Marc-Andre Fleury. Fleury just did not know exactly where that puck was, and Fehr was able to reach in there. He's such a tall, lanky hockey player, and the Penguins, Harrington was already down trying to block that pass going in front. You really couldn't establish where the puck was either.
Washington.
8th game of the season for Eric Fehr. Remember, he scored a goal in the Winter Classic against the Penguins. He just always seems to come up with ways to score against Pittsburgh.
And there's that first goal, Staggy.
Yep.
You mentioned those numbers: 16, 1, and 2, the Capitals, when scoring the first one. And they're a great road hockey team.
And they are healthy. They've used only 24 players this year. The Penguins have used 34 skaters. Second most in the league, and the Capitals have used the least number of players. They've stayed healthy. Shot by Hillen is blocked away. It's to the right side, and Green with a wrister, and that went wide of the target. Hillen hustles down the wall, but who beat him to it was Bobby Farnham, and he jabs it back out to center, where it's taken by Brooks Laich. Laich to Beagle. Jay Beagle is hit by Chris Letang. Letang makes a nice little pass to slip it along for Patrick Hornqvist. He and Sutter come ahead. And it's driven to the goal, and Holtby decides he better stop play. 1:07 to go in the first period. The Your neighborhood Ford store, first intermission with Robin J. Dan Potash speaks with Derek Pouliot. There he is. Young defenseman of the Penguins, only 20 years old. His 4th NHL game tonight. Facing the amazing Alexander Ovechkin at times. Now Brooks Orpik backhands it up the wall and chipped ahead by Mike Latta.
1 minute remaining in the period.
Oh, we might have something go on here. A couple of combatants looked at each other.
Latta and Dupre had words on an icing call. They're going to bring it back into the Capital zone here.
Simon Dupre with another big hit. 2nd in the National Hockey League in hits. They got tangled up. They glared at each other.
Orpik is 4th in hits with 127. Ovechkin is 5th in hits with 122 now, or at least we saw him with that 1 hit in this game. And Simon Dupre now with 114 hits at least. He's 6th. There's a shot just wide of the goal. Malkin after the puck. So some of the top hitters in the game in this game here tonight. And you can feel that, can't you? And here's Carlson. And he'll chip it out to center ice. Ovechkin trying to get to it, but Dupre just hacks it back off the near board. Barry Trotz had kind words for Nicholas Backstrom today. Ovechkin shoots the puck. It's blocked by Dupre. Said he thinks he's a sulky player. Another hit by Dupre. As he dumped a man down there in the corner, it was Wilson.
Oh, he absolutely
turned into favor on him for hitting Sutter earlier. He draped him.
Oh, he absolutely. I don't know how to describe it. After he blocked the Ovechkin shot, I mean, this has become just his MO right now, isn't it? I mean, he doesn't miss any opportunity to just plaster somebody.
So big, he's such a bull. Here's Rustin behind the net, and there's the horn ending the period. And tempers flaring a bit here at the end of the first period with a lot of thundering checks.
Yeah, another big hit by Crosby on Niskanen. And the Penguins were going to step in case there was something going on. Here's the block by Dupre down to one knee. Then he goes into the corner, and Wilson, he just wastes him. Wow. Tough to play against right now. The Penguins want to be tough to play against. This is a hard game.
Shots even at 9. Capitals lead 1-0. Let's go to Robin J.
Thanks, guys. Despite that 1-0 score, a fun period to watch. We saw a shorthanded chance for the Penguins. Lots of good skill and action in that first period.
There's always something. We say it every time. There's something about when you play the Capitals, Rangers, Flyers, go down the line, Boston. It's a special type of game, and this one has all the elements. Great puck movement by both teams, hard hitting by both teams. You need goaltending. Obviously, Washington gets on the board first, but it's a lot of skill and a lot of physical play, even with all the guys out of the lineup. So great period, though.
Eric Fair with his 8th this season has given the Washington Capitals a 1-0 lead. Coming up next, Dan Potash catches up with Derek Pouliot. Jay will tell us straight and more when we return after this.
1-0 Caps. Eric Fair, the goal scorer. Sidney Crosby had a breakaway. Look at the stick on his pants. A little tug, and you see the 5 holes open. He gets it up, maybe a little higher than he would want to. You can see how tight that blocker arm is. Holtby keeping it tight to his right side to make that save. Really square to Crosby as he turned it to that backhand, and Crosby's going to change the tape on that blade.
Well, Braden Holtby is now being coached by Mitch Korn, the longtime goalie coach of the Nashville Predators when Barry Trotz was there. Shot by Niskanen, deflected away. And Korn has done a good job with it. Holtby said, I've always had holes in my games, but this is the first time I've been told how to fix them. Goalie coaches can make a difference, as we've seen with Fleury and Mike Bales here in Pittsburgh. No question. Here's Brouwer now off his stick. Niskanen steps up, shoots it. Fleury the save, and the rebound got away from him for a moment, but Dupre right there to come to his rescue and clear the puck in the length of the ice. It'll be icing against the Penguins. We invite you to tweet us at Root Sports Pit using the hashtag Pens Booth. You can send your comments and questions. Use the hashtag Pens Booth, brought to you by Point Park University.
Hengst D has been exceptional in this hockey game. Again, on that last shift, Scuderi down to one knee, stick on puck. Now he's telling Malkin where to go, what his responsibility is.
This is Jason Megna. Puts us behind Hillen and gets in after it to the corner. Couldn't get to the puck, however, as the Caps got back and cleared it.
What an opportunity, though, for Jason Megna. Again, a guy who was sent down after taking 4 penalties in a hockey game. Didn't look like he was going to get the call up again. Now Hornquist is out of the game. What a chance.
Letang with a good hit down there on Wilson. He's been taking a beating in this game, and he moves it out to the point. Filling over to Green. Green with a soft wrister and gloved by Marc-Andre Fleury. We'd like to welcome Atlantic broadband viewers in the Cumberland area. Thanks for watching and rooting on the Pens. All of us at Root Sports and the Penguins appreciate your support down there in Cumberland, Maryland.
Brandon Sutter banged up in the first. Here in the second, he slid into the goalpost with his right arm, and he was in the dressing room in the first after a high hit. So he's taken a beating. And as we mentioned, it's not just the hits, the body blows in this hockey game that are taking the toll. It's players going into the nets. It's Hornquist being hit by his own man, slap shot. This is the first game after Christmas.
Every game, the Penguins seem to lose a player to injury. There's a shot by Light, 2 shots in fact. Fleury just hugs the post to stop him, and the Penguins push it back up into the Capitals zone. Brooks Orpik going back to get it, and he wins the race to the dot for the icing call.
Well, there's a battle here. Ward always goes to the front of the net trying to establish that. Brooks Lake trying to jam it, bad angle. You see the technique of Marc-Andre Fleury.
Seeing Orpik, Bob, skate back to the puck there just reminded me that a lot of people were critical of the Capitals for signing him, and one of the criticisms was that Orpik was slowing down. I never agreed with that assessment. I can see where people would say maybe they gave him a lot of money for a lot of years and it was a bit of a gamble. Here's Gotch with it now for Spalling a shot and a save made, but to say that he was slowing down and couldn't skate anymore is a ridiculous contention. He can really skate. Here's Bobby Farnham into the Capital zone. He shoots it down low and a save made by Holtby, and he'll hang on to it.
Well, Niskanen tried to come over from the right defense to hit Farnham, who was cutting across the middle of the ice. And the Penguins bench has been very vocal here in the second period. Heads up. And they were heads up to Bobby Farnham there. The previous shift to Gotch. Look at Niskanen, number 2, moving across. Oh, and you could see Gotch just picking Niskanen just enough so that Niskanen, his path was impeded to Bobby Farnham, trying to make a statement. Matt Niskanen in the game.
Look at Bobby Farnham.
What's he looking around for? You just don't know.
Harrington dumps it behind the net to the corner and Sidney Crosby. Fending off the man with his arm. It was Orpik who lost his stick out to Letang, and his shot blocked away by Alexander Ovechkin. And now coming back for the Capitals, it's Wilson to center. Not a good pass there for Backstrom. And Kunitz goes the other way, but Wilson gets back to cover up. And he looks ahead for Ovechkin, who snaps it across the ice. And Backstrom just couldn't find the puck. Now it's Harrington with it. Harrington paired up with Chris Letang, who carries the puck to center. Now for Sidney Crosby on the right wing. Crosby try to move it to the middle, maybe try to get it through to Kunitz, but the Capitals Ovechkin comes flying back now. Ovechkin trying to come to the goal. He couldn't get a stick on it as he tried to reach around the defender. Scott Harrington has stayed right with him all the way back to the net.
Well, we saw some great goals by Ovechkin coming down that side last week. Not this time on Harrington, who stayed right with him, the youngster. Well, you haven't found a goal yet in this hockey game, but it's been about defense for your young guys here. And I just saw the last shift, Alexander Ovechkin against Harrington, and it's a trial by fire, isn't it?
It is, and you know what? He played it really well. He had good position on him. He didn't let him get to the net. Finished his check at the end. So, you know, they're holding their own right now, but we got to get more pucks to the net. We're going to score here.
What are your thoughts on matchups? Do you have some ideas on what you want against some of these guys, or with all the injuries, is it just let's just see who's fresh?
Yeah, no, we're actually in a hard matchup tonight with these guys. So the guys know what it is. We're trying to make sure that we get our match as much as we can. Obviously, special teams plays a little bit of an effect on that, throws it off once in a while, but for the most part, I think we've got them.
Thanks, Gary.
All right, thanks, Bob.
Nice play by Dupre to get the puck ahead of Malkin. Trying to come in on Niskanen. Niskanen stood him up. Up the wall it comes now, Brouwer. And the Capitals quickly go the other way, and Alzner is hit in the neutral zone by Magna. Dupre again taps the puck back out to center, and now Niskanen has it for the Capitals. Now it's Sutter dumping it into the Capital zone. Alzner gets the puck and winds it around. It's been a tough night for Brandon Sutter. He's hanging in there, though. He's playing the game. Now it's Niskanen carrying the puck into the Penguin zone, and Niskanen sends it to the net, steered away by Fleury. Simon Dupre goes to work here. Brouwer protects the puck, leaves it behind the net. Kuznetsov tried to center. Dupre over there to get it again in the corner. Against Brouwer, he's able to poke it up the wall nicely for Malkin. Into the middle now for Sutter. Sutter tried to get it back to Malkin. Orpik broke it up. Orpik's lead pass off the stick of Sutter as he was headed to the bench. Now taken by Johansson. Marcus Johansson to Ron Carlson. Carlson dumps into the Penguin zone of the corner. Dupre looks left and then right and left again and then trying to clear the pocket. Goes back to Derek Pouliot.
Love that support by Ebbett. Not the turnover, though.
He turned it over to Eric Fair, who centers. Quick shot by Ward. Fleury looked back, but he has the puck. He thought it might have gone by him, but it was underneath him.
Yeah, not a good play, and Ebbett knows it, and he looks up, and, you know, for a veteran hockey player, he wants that one back. Keep it up the wall. He goes up the middle, and you can never go that way. And that's, you see the backtracking of the Capitals, something they didn't do last year. They're doing this year. Fleury makes a save on Ward at the end, and it goes off the butt of Like right in front of Marc-Andre Fleury, and he looks around in hopes he doesn't see that biscuit. But I'll tell you, that is not a good play by Ebbett. He knows it. You can see it on his face. He won't make that mistake again in this game, I can tell you that.
Here's Chris Letang with it. Andrew Ebbett playing in his 20th game with the Penguins, still looking for his first goal in a Penguin uniform. 3 assists. Ovechkin plants the Penguin down there with Sidney Crosby. He hit him hard on the end boards, but Sid no worse for wear. Now Russ steals. Russ fires. Oh, he just missed over the glove of Holtby. A heavy slap shot. Harrington tried to keep it in, but it's Wilson gloving it down and carrying it to center. Tom Wilson, first round pick of the Capitals.
This is the matchup they want. Harrington and Letang against the Ovechkin Backstrom Wilson unit here.
Letang softly sent it up the wall for Rust. He makes sure he gets it off the boards and up into the Capital zone. And Brooks Orpik goes back to play it.
Well, I like the fact that Russ shot that puck. He had Crosby to his left, but he shot it right past Orpik and almost found that glove hand on Holtby.
Marcel Gotch on the wing. Just sends the puck north. Orpik goes back to get it. Spalling through a hip into Orpik, who got it over to Eric Fair. And the Capitals do come out with good support. But the Penguins cut him off at the pass right in the neutral zone and go D to D. Scuderi gave it away, though, to Fair in the middle. Down to the right wing, Joel Ward looks for the puck and fires it wide off the glass. Racing down the wall, Jack Hillen to the corner now for Brooks Like. Up the boards it comes, Hillen has it again. Corrals the puck, Hillen with a wrister. Klinkhammer blocked it, Hillen gets it back, closing in. Klinkhammer checked him at the last second as he was pulling the trigger and he shot it wide. Joel Ward with it again. Back out to Hillen, the former Islander. Over to Green, a wrister. That's blocked by Spalling. Spalling has the puck. Spalling starts out. The Capitals look a little tired here as the Penguins go the other way. Spalling moves it to the right side. Defenseman Bortuzzo shooting. And Holtby handcuffed a bit, but able to find the puck into his glove.
Well, Ovechkin, you mentioned earlier, last shift, a big hit by Ovechkin, who came all the way down from his forward position to hit Crosby behind the goal line. And then Rust, he knew he had no opportunity. He took a look. The Caps were coming back. Carlson in position on Crosby, so he took the shot. And Holtby was almost handcuffed by the Bortuzzo shot. He tried to play that shot to the blocker's side with his glove. We saw Luongo muff one of those from Spalling last week before Christmas, and yeah, that can handcuff you sometimes.
Capitals clear. Dupre will go back for it, and another icing against Washington. Day Automotive brings you a very, very great day for hockey. This is the anniversary of Mario's return to the ice. December 27th of 2000, coming back from retirement, scoring a goal, a couple of assists against the Toronto Maple Leafs. An amazing night that was here in Pittsburgh, and really all over the hockey world and the sports world for that matter. Everybody was interested in seeing Mario come back. Malkin, Scuderi, wrister, hits a man in front. Oh, actually, Holtby reaching out and finding that puck again. He's been effective with that glove here tonight. I remember where I was when I was there. That's where it was. The night that Mario returned. The old Mellon Arena at that time. There's the ticket.
Yeah, that was something. What a night. Wow.
It's hard to believe 14 years have gone by that quickly. Brooks Like with it now. He moves it into the middle now for Joel Ward. Taken out by Ward on the right wing boards. Shoots it from a sharp angle. Fleury, the way he hugs that post now is very Strong to the post, stopping that shot by Ward. Now Alsner pokes it to the corner. Ward gets in after it, behind the net for Like. Like turns out, looks to the right point for Niskanen. Kunitz read that play and poked it back to center. And Niskanen back to get it. Kunitz closing in on Niskanen. Finished him off. Kunitz really physical here tonight, right from the start of the hockey game. This is Pouliot sending it around now for Rust. And up in center now, it's Sidney Crosby. Malkin's on the ice as well. Crosby looks back for Harrington. Here he is. He shoots it, and Holtby in position again with that glove. Stops play.
Yeah, use that glove a lot. Kunitz uses the body a lot. And Fleury's been using his stick a lot of traffic. Kunitz got something against Niskanen in this one.
Still with a 1-0 lead as we work our way through the second period. Penguins will not play in the Winter Classic this year, but the Capitals will as they host the Chicago Blackhawks on New Year's Day. Nationals Park will be the setting for the game, which will need, 20,000 gallons of water to build the ice surface that you see there. 32,000 square feet of decking and 52,000 feet of plywood to construct that rink. Again, the game will be played on New Year's Day, guys.
Shot by Pouliot, and again, there's that glove of Holtby. He's really used it a lot to stop play and take face-offs in his own zone.
Yeah, Stay, he's weak on the blocker. He's good on the glove, and that's been his MO. And he really cheats with that glove hand, does Holtby. He won't give you too much on that blocker. He's trying to force you to get to the glove hand, and then he takes it away.
And it makes the face-off important when he does that. And Eric Fair wins it against Gotch. And the Capitals able to get it back to center. Now Bortuzzo, look out. Brooks Light trying to take it away from him. Barging down the left wing boards against Bortuzzo. Bortuzzo lost his stick. He picks it up. The Caps maintain possession here. Alsner works it down low. And the puck comes loose for Eric Fair. Joel Ward goes to the front of the net. Out to the point it comes to Niskanen, who dumps it behind the net. Joel Ward there along with Brooks Light. And the Penguins, Bobby Farnham able to emerge with the puck for Bortuzzo. He'll gain the red line and softly dump it to the corner. And it's offside. One of the Penguins was just ahead of that soft dump in by Robert Bortuzzo.
Well, take a look. You talk about the glove hand. Braden Holtby. Green is better. Red is worse than the average. You see 26.6 on the high blocker, 21.9 low blocker. And you see the average is 18% on the high blocker. So more goals are going in, allowed there. And look at the end of his stick. He's got a full roll of tape on there, Steggy. Basically everything he can put on the end of that stick to stop any puck to help him out. That's a lot of tape.
There's an icing call against Washington. They'll bring it back into the Capitals zone. Well, Braden Holtby has become the man in Washington. And, there's a convenient use of that knob. And typically turn the stick over like Kenny Dryden.
Yeah, and typically why you do that is when you go for the poke check, the goalie wants to be able to slide the hand up the stick and then have it stop right there at the end and not have that stick just fly out of your hands. That's one of the reasons why they put a lot of tape on the end. You were a goalie, Steggy.
Here's Ovechkin, a Beagle to the goal. Great poke check by Fleury and a penalty coming up.
And just as we say, that poke check comes out by Fleury. It stops right at the end of the tape, at the end of the stick. A beautiful, beautiful save with the poke check right on cue. Using the cue. Look at that. And he keeps it in his hand. Ovechkin sets up Beagle, and Beagle's had a couple of good opportunities coming in on Marc-Andre Fleury. Two partial breakaways, I would call that right there, as he gets in behind Chris Letang.
Letang showing his displeasure again in the box. He's there, though. The Capitals back with the man advantage, leading 1-0. And the Capitals are 0 for 3 on the power play so far. This is a very, very good one, ranked first in the league. Penguins penalty killers continue to do a great job. Tempting fate a bit here right now, though. Here's Backstrom. Leaving it now for Johansson to Backstrom. Down low. Brower's in the slot. Ovechkin sneaking in that back door. Shot by Green. Stopped by Fleury. Rebound. Brower there poking at it. Scuderi down. And the puck is frozen by Marc-Andre Fleury. Scuderi lost his helmet.
He did. When the puck comes up to Mike Green in the middle of that umbrella, he's so dangerous because he just floats the puck in this time. He could go to Ovechkin. They take Ovechkin away. Spalling does, and that leaves a big lane. And he just flicks it into the front of the net. Giordano does that. Carlson does it. Letang does it. All the point getters, all the goal scorers All the number grabbers on defense know just to float the puck into the net with traffic in front, and you're going to produce.
Scuderi to the puck, sent it behind the net for Bortuzzo. He should be able to clear here, and he does. I asked Scuderi today, how are you going to deal with Ovechkin? I said, Orpik used to be that guy. Even though he plays the left side, he would move over there a bit. He said the idea is to just keep the puck on the other side of the ice. Don't let them pass it through to Ovechkin. He's just hanging out over there on that left side. The Penguins are going to try to take away those lanes, but here he is with the puck now. Shooting, and a save by Fleury. And Backstrom around now for Johansson. Back up Ty Green. Ovechkin shooting, and again Fleury makes the save. The rebound gathered in by Brouwer. Around for Johansson. Ovechkin's getting looks. He's getting shots. Fleury's there anticipating. Here's Green now sending it down low. Backstrom sending around for Brouwer into the slot. Pushed wide. Brouwer shot it wide, but Ovechkin ends up with a puck behind the net for Backstrom. Back around for Johansson. Quick pass to Johansson from Green. Shoots it. Fleury loves it and holds onto it. 36 seconds to go on the penalty to Letang.
Well, Green's a right-handed shot. You got to cheat over to Ovechkin, and Fleury's been doing it. Head-to-head, Crosby, Malkin, and Ovechkin. That's what they've done in 23 regular season games when they're all in the lineup. And Crosby and Malkin over 30 points, and Ovechkin with 23. 3 shots tonight, 2 in that last shift for Alexander Ovechkin.
Joel Ward to take the face-off against Gotch. That's kind of a mismatch there, and the Penguins take advantage of it as Dupre is able to sky that puck all the way down the ice. Now it is Carlson moving it ahead. Lead pass to the right wing intended for Burakovsky. He races in there to get it, but getting there first was Harrington, and again Dupre so demonstrative because he gets down on his right knee and just kind of wheels that puck out on the backhand. Puck is dumped in again. Fleury out of the net, dished it off in behind for Dupre. Simon Dupre backhands it ahead now to Gotch. Penalty's over. On the ice comes Letang. He's unaccounted for as he came in, and they just can't get him the puck. And a backhand attempt by Gotch went wide. And now it's Joel Ward skating up the right wing, and he will dump it off the boards, but didn't get it deep. Scuderi broke it up ahead to Kunitz and now to Malkin. Malkin has Crosby on the right wing, goes to Kunitz on the left side, and he floats one up into the netting off the stick of Carlson. And a face-off coming up in the Washington zone with 1:57 to go in the period.
Well, Marcel Gotch had an opportunity at the end of the penalty kill. He tried to wrap it around on the backhand. That puck flipped over the net and went off that, almost went off that knob and in, to be honest with you, and he was flying across and had a second crack at it on our Super Mo presented by Allegheny Health Network. And
thank goodness for the Super Mo, because I couldn't see that with a naked eye where that puck went, and that was very close to going in.
One thing I can see is they have a lot of faith in Mr. Harrington. Scott Harrington is one solid defenseman. Oh, man. I don't know if he broke the stick or he fanned on it. He dropped it after, but Pouliot had a crack at it.
And he was wide open. Wide open. Here is Letang ahead now for Malkin. Gino trying to get on track. Eric Fair there on him as he tried to barge to the net. He was cut off, and then Orpik bumped him on the way down. Carried up the right wing now by Jay Beagle. Dumps it behind Scuderi. Letang over to get it. Holds off Light to poke it up the board. And it's taken there by Klinkhammer. Bob Klinkhammer turns away from the check of Jay Beagle. Skates the puck to center ice. Klinkhammer into the Washington zone. Dumps it down the wall. Tries to keep going against Aldrin. Does get it all the way to the end boards. Malkin there. Knocked away from him. Harrington moving up on the gap there against Beagle. He's able to disrupt his path. But now it's Eric Fair into the Penguin zone. He's got Ovechkin with him. Fair for Ovechkin. Broken up and off the arm of Fleury, I think, as Harrington went down. The block of centering pass. Green with a drive, and he missed the net. Held in by the Capitals. This is Niskanen with it. The shot, and that's off a leg wide. I think it hit Ovechkin in front of the goal.
It did, and I tell you, Marc-Andre Fleury saved the day in the final minute here in the second period.
And we're down to 32 seconds to go in the period. The Penguins in a little bit of trouble here. Ovechkin with a puck. Center shot. Great save by Fleury on Backstrom. And Malkin goes the other way with 23 seconds to work with, but he just pushes it into the Capital zone and goes to the bench.
The Penguins have been using Malkin and Crosby on the ice the last 2, maybe 3 shifts of this second period after a Letang penalty, trying to get the tire on the board.
Now moved ahead. Sutter with only 2 seconds to go in the period. Penguins still down by 1. They're 1 shot away from tying this game.
And the Caps were one shot away from going up 2-0. Harrington got back. He intercepted that pass to Ovechkin and went off the left shoulder of Fleury, up and over the ice, the net. And I believe Brouwer with that crack there in that high slot as Ovechkin fed him, keeping it a 1-0 score. Marc-Andre Fleury, he's made 23 saves.
Caps outshot the Penguins 15-10. The shots are 24-19 through 40 minutes of play. Let's go to Robin Jay.
Staggy and Bob, thanks very much. Jay, remains 1-0 Washington Capitals.
Yeah, that was good. I mean, again, another hard period. Washington got a few more opportunities later in that session, but it's still good puck movement at times. Pittsburgh dealing with another player being out of the lineup. It's tough, and when anybody goes down, but again, when another top six forward, you're moving them around and that happens, your juggling is a whole different level. So they got to keep battling like they are.
Yeah, it's been incredible. Penguins find themselves down just one goal, though. It's 1-0 coming up next. Dan Potash will catch up with Jason Megna. Jay's illustration and thoughts in the third period. All that and more coming up next. Well, except for the goal scoring, it's about what we'd expect between the Penguins and the Caps. Plenty of contentious play, a 1-0 Caps lead. In case you're just joining us, here's what you've missed.
Nice play by Crosby on a penalty kill. He's got Everett going to the net. Shot! Great save by Holtby with a left pad standing up. Slips the check of Letang, finds Beagle. He drew it in front. It's loose and they score. The Capitals jamming in. Eric Fair right there on the doorstep. Spaulding comes back with the Penguins shorthanded. Looks for Sutter going to the goal. Sutter was hauled down, and he went crashing into the goal cage. Here Ovechkin with a puck. Center shot. Great save by Fleury on Backstrom. Well, lopsided a bit in that period in terms of the shots. 15 of them, Bob. The Capitals have had 4 power play chances, but Marc-Andre Fleury has been the great equalizer to this point. Only a 1-0 Capitals lead.
Yeah, he just doesn't sit there. He's very aggressive. He'll come out if he has to play pucks. He'll come out with his poke check. He's done that a couple of times against Beagle. Very aggressive in that cage is Marc-Andre Fleury. He just won't sit there. That glove has been good. Bad angle shots have been good. He never makes the first move on those breakaways. Look at the shoulder save he was able to make as Harrington prevented a 2-on-1. And after a loss, look at his bounce back numbers after he's been pulled. Last 16 times after being pulled, 12-1-3, and of course he was pulled in the last game against Tampa Bay.
Here's some more numbers for you. The Washington Capitals, when they lead after 2 periods, are 15-1-2. The Penguins are trailing, going to the third for only the 6th time this year. They're 0-3-2 in their previous 5 situations, and they've shown that they do have the ability to come back. They don't go quietly into the night, so I would expect a very good performance here by the Penguins in the third. We'll see what happens. Patrick Hornquist has not returned to the lineup for the Penguins. Another blow. Let's hope it's just maybe a bruise or something from blocking that shot, something he'll be able to come back from. The Penguins will be moving on to play the Devils on Monday. And, of course, Carolina comes in on New Year's Eve. Penguins want to get healthy again. They've just been riddled with injuries in the month of December. Here's Backstrom. Can't get the puck to the corner. Sutter there. Malkin steps in and moves it out to center ice. It's Malkin, Sutter, and Jason Megna right now for the Penguins. Fleury stops it behind the goal. Scuderi poked it over to the near wall. Oh, Letang just got run over by Ovechkin. He saw him coming at the last second. And Ovechkin is just a bulldozer right now.
He's huge. He's a big man. 2.25. And look out. Letang got caught, but he's going to be able to get back with his great speed.
Backstrom dumps the puck to the goal. Shot it long, and Fleury gloves it down. Beagle gets in there after the whistle. Right in the middle of it.
Yeah, Beagle's going to get in there just in case Letang's going to go over to Ovechkin. Ovechkin's got 5 hits now in the hockey game. He's attempted 11 shots. He's been very visible. He's been good on both ends of the rink. And here's the hit. Letang reaching for the puck. Ovechkin trying to keep the arms down. Letang saw him coming, so he went down low. Letang, look how he's in front of the net. Look, come right back the middle of the ice and easily forward to backward to sideways. And just showing his skating ability is Chris Letang. When the guys come off the ice, they want to get that snow off the stick.
This is Brian Rust busting out of the pack down the right wing. Rust shoots it long to the net. Kind of took something off it there, and Holtby steered it away. Harrington sent it back around to the near corner. Off the wall it comes. Dupre on his backhand. Down the boards. Didn't get it all the way to the corner. And they lift it back into the Penguin zone. Kunitz goes back to get it. Long lead pass for Russ, trying to get behind the defense. And getting back was Niskanen to take it away from him. Crosby bumps Matt Niskanen. The puck accidentally shot by Niskanen into the bench area. On the latest edition of the Penguins in the Room, the Kunitz family takes you home as they prepare for the holidays. Mike Johnston gives Christian Ehrhoff some shooting advice that pays off. And much more in the Room Wednesday at 6 on Root Sports.
Well, Ehrhoff just one of many out of this lineup. We haven't talked about Downey and how good he's been. He out of the lineup. And you mentioned Adams. Homo, how good was he before he went down with the upper body injury, falling into the boards?
Nice to see Bo Bennett back on the ice this morning, so he's apparently not far from returning to the lineup.
Sill, Wilson. Have I forgotten anybody?
And we mentioned Ehrhoff and Martin. There's another hit down there by Bobby Farnham. He's on the ice. I can hear it.
Yes, and of course Pascal Dupuis, 6 months minimum. Still a chance maybe in playoffs if you go by the 6-month minimum. I just don't know, Staggy.
Rust dished it to the right side for Bortuzzo, who chops it up into the Capital zone. Back to get it goes Jack Hillen. Rust in on the forecheck, trying to take it away. And racing off the bench to get to the puck was Scott Harrington, trying to get it deep. Now Crosby settles it down. Crosby finds Dupre. His shot! Oh, just flipped off the side of the goal cage, it appeared, after it was deflected. Dupre with it again. Crosby works it down to the corner for Rust. Rust wants to bring it to the net. Instead turns back and finds Simon Dupre. Dupre dipping and diving, moves it along now for Harrington. Back down into the corner. Kunitz couldn't corral it. Rust goes over to get it. Back out for Harrington. On his backhand, he's able to send it down the wall for Crosby. And now it comes down to Harrington again to Crosby. Sidney Crosby back across. Dupre with a drive. Deflected away from the net. Crosby with it again. Simon Dupre tees it up. Passes it instead, this time to Kunitz. Back out for Dupre. He'll send it hard around, where it's going to be Harrington racing over to get it on the backhand. Couldn't keep it in, but Kunitz did. Burakovsky tried to get it out. Couldn't do so. Malkin off the bench has it. Malkin looks at the net, shoots it. And it's off the leg of Jack Hillen to the left side, and Dupre with it again. Extended pressure for the Penguins here in the Cap zone. Harrington again now. Dupre fakes the shot to Crosby. Sidney Crosby turning away, backhanding into the slot. And it's cleared by the Capitals back to the Penguin line. Crosby takes it again on the right wing. Tried to move it back into the middle again, and the Capitals take it away. And Backstrom banked it off the boards ahead of the Penguin zone. Here comes Ovechkin, shooting up high, Fleury. Again, hugging that post, standing up that time to make the save on Alexander Ovechkin.
Yeah, and he's shaking his head right now. Might have hit him in that gobbler underneath the mask or right in the side of the head.
Knocked out of midair by Magna, but they're going to blow the whistle and say it was a high stick on the puck. Was it over the shoulder? I guess it was.
Good action. Penguins had the Capitals hemmed in their own end. And Ovechkin at the other end took a bad angle shot up high. Yeah, it hit Marc-Andre Fleury right in the mask as he shakes his head, and Crosby and Malkin trying to perform surgery. There's a shot that went off either the stick of Kunitz or the leg of Hillen by the right side. Our Super Bowl presented by Allegheny Health Network, and just one bounce away are the Penguins. They just got to keep getting pucks to the net.
Scuderi and Letang are paired up at the moment. Backstrom working in deep now. Ovechkin out here with Backstrom. Tom Wilson. Orpik pinched. Penguins get the puck. Sutter takes off. Moves it left side for Malkin. Malkin hit by Beagle. Carlson there as well. Stepping into Scuderi. He's able to work it deep, and Orpik will take it in behind the goal. Orpik just dodged the check of Bobby Farnham there. Bobby Farnham to the puck, hit by Orpik. Malkin tried to step out and lost the puck. And Nicholas Backstrom goes the other way. It'll be dumped in by Carlson behind the net.
Well, this team's much better built, the Capitals, to win a 1-0 hockey game with the additions of Orpik and Niskanen and the way they play as units of 5. The Penguins at 20 shots right now, and you got to figure they're going to need 10 or 15 more in this period.
Simon Dupre is a guy who really looks like he wants to score a goal here tonight. He's playing with a little bit more offense in his game, trying to do what he can to help out. Centering pass by Klinkhammer. Taken now by Brouwer. He's trying to settle that puck down to the corner. Gotch all over him. Now Klinkhammer bumps him. But he was able to get it behind the net, and up the wing it comes now for Johansson. To the right wing. Shot by Brouwer, and he fired it wide of the goal. A heavy slap shot. The Penguins counter quickly. Klinkhammer at the end of his shift. Over the line for Dupre. Dupre shoots, and it's blocked. Diving to the ice was Orpik to block that shot. Now Dupre trying to get back on his skates to get back in the play here. He's trapped, trying to get back. Here's Johansson closing in. He scores. Marcus Johansson taking advantage of the fact that Dupre fell down. And he slowed the pace down and fired it by Fleury to make it 2-0.
Yeah, but the Penguins still had bodies back, and Crosby tried to pick the puck off the stick of Johansson. There is Dupre caught off ice, and when the puck goes the other way, Johansson, Sidney Crosby tries to get the puck and not the man, and he misses the puck, and it's a 2-on-1, and Johansson finishes it off on the 2-on-1. So the Penguins had that opportunity to stop in the neutral zone, and Fleury unable to make that save on the blocker side as the puck went between his blocker and his body. The left-handed shooting Johansson takes advantage of the 2-on-1, takes advantage of the stick check in the neutral zone. Dupre being up in the offensive zone.
Penguins were pushing to get that goal to tie it up, and they had that long sequence where they pressured the Capitals in their zone, but they really didn't get any really good shots away on the net. They missed the net a couple of times, held the puck, but didn't really get it to the cage much. Bobby, one of his tips to win was go to the net.
Go to the net, go to the net. Well, Sidney Crosby thought he could surprise Johansson, Staggy. Coming from the bench to the middle of the ice, Johansson was first playing with his skate and then just really getting that puck to his stick, and Crosby just thought he could just pickpocket him right there.
Now Bortuzzo battling for possession. Out to Kunitz. Kunitz carries into the Capital zone. Tried to get it to Crosby, couldn't do so. It's cleared back to center. Pouliot to Kunitz. Now to Rust. He's poke-checked at the line by Eric Fehr, who goes to the bench. Capitals shuffle the deck as the Penguins. Rust comes down the wing. Fakes the shot. Looks back for reinforcements coming off the bench. Instead, gets it deep for Crosby. Crosby hit by Niskanen. Malkin steps in. Back down into the corner it goes. And barging in there was Dupre. Now he's trapped again as Ovechkin comes the other way. Back on the play is Harrington along with Megna, who's not a defenseman, and the shot by Ovechkin off the stick of Harrington, who continues to do a good job in one-on-one situations against Ovechkin. There's the goal by Johansson into the 6th hole with Harrington back. 2-0 wash.
Down here between the benches on my left, Anson Carter, my teammate in the 97 World Championships. He wanted to say hi. It's nice being down here with him, with AC. And Mike Johnson was our assistant coach when we won that gold medal with Team Canada in 1997. And he looked real young back then, Stag. He still looks young, Mike Johnson. He's making us all look bad.
57 years of age, and Mike Johnson majored and actually got a master's in physiology. He's a fitness freak. That's why he looks so good.
Well, everybody should tune into that World Junior Championship going on right now. That is great hockey.
Here's Ovechkin, backhand shot. Fleury the save. Ovechkin got his own rebound. Dishes it into the equipment of Fleury, who freezes.
After our game, of course, and great players for the United States who won their first game 2-1 over Finland, and Kasperi Kapanen, the Penguins' first-round pick last year. But Marc-Andre Fleury, now 12 shot attempts for Alexander Ovechkin. If you want to count the rebound attempt right here, why not? So count that attempt too. 13 shot attempts for Alexander Ovechkin. He's got a half a dozen shots, a half a dozen hits. And let's face it, Flowers got to shut the door right now.
And the Capitals win the face-off here. Niskanen with a wrist shot off the goalpost. It came sneaking through. And Penguins got a break there. It would be 3-0. Niskanen, we've seen him do that before. Just throwing pucks to the net. Eric Fehr behind the goal. Fehr with that long reach moves it out to the point to Alston. And he dumps it in behind the net to Joel Ward. Down for Brooks Laich, who's hit by Bortuzzo. Out for Fehr. He couldn't take it cleanly, but it comes through to Alsner, and his wrist shot knocked down by Bortuzzo. Over to Gotch. Out in center ice now to Spaulding, who slips it up into the Washington zone. To the left wing, and Brooks Laich, who steers it back into the Penguins' corner. Harrington back to get it. Backhands it around hard for Dupre. Dupre is bumped. He slipped the check of Brouwer. Snaps it up the left wing nicely to Crosby, who couldn't take it cleanly, and now Dupre has to try again on the right side. Around now for Rust, who tips it along for Crosby, and he carries the center. Couldn't get around the defenseman or the forward Kuznetsov. He's tripped in the neutral zone. Fortunately, no penalty there. Might have been tripped by his own teammate. Here's Crosby now to the left wing, and Kunitz. Back to Crosby, closing in his shot. He missed the goal. Back around Dupre. Look at that move off the wall. He tried to get it to the net, though, and Orpik flagged it down. Headman's the puck to Kuznetsov. Dupre trying to get back. Kuznetsov against Harrington. Another one-on-one play there by Harrington. Excellent work there by Scott Harrington. Up the left wing now for Kunitz. And it stays in the Penguin zone. Kuznetsov there. Beagle comes in, but the Penguins, Crosby has it. He has to go to the bench. He shoots it long on the net. And Holtby just steers it aside. Back out to center ice comes Beagle. The Penguins down by 2.
Stuck on 20 shots. Stuck on 20 shots right now. It's very tough for them to get through this neutral zone. Look at the back pressure.
Only one shot in the period for Pittsburgh. This is Green with it now. Up the right wing, and Megna came down to try to get a hold of it. Now Letang with it. Letang shoots it. It comes through traffic. That is a shot on goal, and a save made by Holtby. But here goes Ovechkin taking off. Megna trying to catch him from behind. Ovechkin continues to come into the Penguin zone. Megna stayed right with him as he backhands it in behind the Penguin goal. Scuderi to Letang. Letang up the left side now. Malkin cuts into the middle with Megna. Leaves it for Sutter. Sutter trying to power his way in. Centered it. Oh, nobody was there. I mean, he just passed it. At that point, Megna and Malkin had gone to the net. Backstrom dumps the puck into the Penguin zone.
Penguins quick changes right now here. They're down to 3 lines, shorten the bench. Marquist not available.
Penguins could ill afford to lose another one of their top 6 wingers tonight, and that's what's happened. Marquist is felled by a shot that went off his skate. Continued to play for a while, but did not come back out for the second period. Here's Niskanen with it, dropping it off. An offside play. Capitals kept playing despite the whistle, and they'll drop it at center ice. You know, Barry Trotz today was talking about Alexander Ovechkin, Bob. He said, I went to him and said, "You're a wildflower." He said, "What?" I said, "You're a wildflower." He said, "Do you know who Bob Dylan is?" He said, "Yeah." And he said, "How about Muhammad Ali?" He said, "You're like those guys." There's the puck that went off the goalpost earlier. And he told him, "You could be the best Russian player in the history of the game." And he's really trying to get through to Ovi, who's got 9 shots, attempted blocked 4 of them, 3 missed, 5 hits, and 1 blocked shot here tonight. The wildflower is making an impact in this game.
Well, the Flower's been pretty good himself, but
he certainly has. Down to the
help.
Light just fell down. Just managed to avoid a big check by Simon Dupre. Orpik to the right side. Carlson shot, the rebound, rolls over the goal line. Like is there, Fair is there. I think Eric Fair is the last guy to touch it.
I don't know how Fair got it. He's on the ground. He just rolled it over the goal line. As he was down on his backside. That puck came from the point. It was deflected. Marc-Andre Fleury was ready to play a high shot, and it was deflected up pretty high, guys. I don't know if it was above the crossbar or not, but right there, see the redirect? And they have to take a look at that. You have to take a look and see if this is a high stick pass or high stick to himself. That puck could have been high stick. You're gonna have to take a look, and you know they will in Toronto, to see if that was high stick down by Fair, and then he knocks it into the net himself. And enough time for them to look at it. Definitely not a high stick. Ward high sticked it down, or sorry, not high stick, that knocked it down with a stick to Fair. Man. Fair took the Harrington hit stag and just caressed it over the goal line, if you will. So they looked at it. It was well legal below that crossbar and below the shoulder. If it was a pass, which it was, a pass from Ward to the stick of Fair.
Amazing. That's 2 goals for Fair, 8 for Fair against the Penguins in 21 games against Pittsburgh. Holtby gloves it long enough to draw the whistle. So Eric Fair loves playing the Penguins, and right now Eric Fair and the Capitals lead at 3-0.
Not fair. He's a big man, Eric Fair, taking the center. Face off here right now. Remember the Winter Classic? Back in 2011. He's a big part of that game. A rainy day in Pittsburgh, and there's Fair from the slot area as the Capitals went on to win that Winter Classic.
And they'll be involved in the next Winter Classic coming up on New Year's Day. And they'll be playing that one down in D.C. and they'll be hosting it this time. Of course, they were guests here in Pittsburgh at Heinz Field for that one we just saw. Here's Kunitz with it now, taken away, and the Capitals Fair bangs it off the boards, and it goes out of play over there.
Well, they're a better hockey team defensively this year, the Washington Capitals. And you see how their shots allowed per game have gone from 33.5 last year in the 13-14 category to 27.9 this year. They're giving up fewer shots than the Penguins, who have actually given up a shot and a half more this year. Under Barry Trotz, they've added Orpik and Niskanen to the mix, and they're trying to get everybody else to buy into that team play.
Trotz has leadership groups within his team. And he's really tried to change the culture of the Capitals as much as he can. An icing call against Washington, and I think you're seeing signs that the Capitals are improving as time goes on because they've had a great month of December. They've outshot the Penguins 9-4 here in the third period. And here's a Kunitz hit on Orpik, Bob, our Subway sandwich of the game.
That was solid. He really hit him square, and Brooks Orpik was on the penalty kill there early in the game, and he felt the wrath of Kunitz, who came into this period with 6 hits to lead all Penguins. Brooks Orpik had 6 for the Capitals.
Here goes Malkin to Kunitz. Kunitz to Crosby to Malkin. Great save by Holtby, and he floated across to make it look easy on Evgeny Malkin. And he's doing everything right here tonight, Braden Holtby.
Came in with a .917 save percentage, 2.30 goals against, 15-8. And Malkin on the off wing goes down to 1 knee. And you see how square Holtby is to the shot. Yeah, he does look good.
Malkin, no goals in 3 games plus this one against Holtby. Hasn't been able to score on him yet. Scuderi on the left wing boards. Beagle trying to get it out, and he does work it back to center ice. Penguins with a 5-game winning streak on the line here tonight on home ice. And the Capitals looking to take it away. The Capitals have more road wins than any other team in the Eastern Conference. They came in with 10 wins on the road, a better record on the road than they have at home. Penguins have had some streaks against some teams that they've met here in Pittsburgh recently. Here's Ovechkin with it, swinging around Crosby, trying to center it, and taken away by Letang. Didn't get enough on it to get it up the boards. Now Letang emerges with the puck. Moves it ahead now for Kunitz. 8:03 to go in the game. Penguins have had some good comeback in them recently. Let's see if they can get that next goal here. Crosby's long shot steered away by Holtby. Letang over to get a hold of it. Beagle grabbed it and didn't get it out. Dupre held it in. He was bumped from behind as he tried to get it deep. And
got a penalty there.
Puck goes out over the glass.
I think it is.
Yes, it is. Penguins were calling for it.
Just over that glass. That's enough. It's going to be a 2-minute delay game on Backstrom. On the backhand over the glass.
19, Washington, 2 minutes, delay game.
There he is, Backstrom. Pressure Malkin, does not hit Malkin's stick. And there's a little whack and hack by Crosby on Ovechkin. Ovechkin said, hey, come on, as he gives Crosby a little jab back with the stick. So delay a game, but Backstrom is a penalty kill guy, and a delay a game for Pittsburgh so they can give Malkin and Crosby a break. They were just on the ice for a minute.
I mean, a timeout for Pittsburgh here.
Timeout?
Yep, these are the streaks we talked about. Tonight, Washington, Penguins have an 8-game winning streak against them. 5 straight here in Pittsburgh. That game against Tampa the other night, that ended a 10-game winning streak the Penguins had against them. And an 8-game winning streak at home against the Lightning. And then also when Calgary was in town, the Penguins beat them to extend the streak to 8 games. So some teams just can't seem to break the streak, the hex. But the Capitals are in pretty good shape right now. Nevertheless, the Penguins have a man advantage with quite a bit of time left. If they can get on the board here with a power play, which is 0 for 2, maybe they can inject a little life in this crowd and get on the comeback trail.
Well, you mentioned Capitals' prowess in the East, Staggy, and Malkin the same way. He has really preyed on the East. 33 of his 41 points this year coming against the East. That's tops in that category. They're going to need him right now.
Letang held it in. Malkin with it now for Crosby. Back to Malkin. Malkin out on top now to Derek Pouliot. Pouliot with his head up finds Crosby. Sidney Crosby with Letang sneaking in the back door. Holds the puck, works it down low. Kunitz back to Sid. Now to Pouliot. Slap shot, blocked. Tough to get those shots through. Lake got in front of that one. He goes off. The Capitals change their penalty killers as the Penguins bring it to center. It's Pouliot again, carrying the puck, gaining the zone. Pouliot swings it down low for Kunitz. Now for Malkin. And off the stick of Holtby. Crosby was sneaking in there in the back door, but Holtby felt him there and was able to prevent the puck from coming through. Capitals clear, and Letang goes back forward with 1:11 to go on the Backstrom penalty. Pouliot really knows what he's doing, gaining the zone here. Moves it to the right side for Kunitz. Now to Crosby. And across now to Letang. A Malkin, a shot, and Holtby with a glove save.
That puck was a hard knuckler. When Malkin shot it, it was on edge. And Holtby really stayed with it, using his glove once again. Take a look at the feed. Letang to Malkin, and Holtby. Look how far out he is, and look at it knuckling in. Knuckled right into the glove. Beautiful look, guys, from the Supermo. Oh, that was fantastic. And Holtby in tremendous position on top of the crease, but not screened whatsoever, able to make that save. And boy, you miss Hornquist now.
Dupre to Bortuzzo off his stick. He wasn't happy with that, and the Caps able to clear it all the way down. 48 seconds remaining on the Backstrom penalty. Backstrom is an important penalty killer for the Caps, not available to them. He's in the box. Dupre right up the alley. Dupre stick handling in, fell down, but he got the puck to Sutter. He was tripped on the play. And a save made by Holtby there as Spaulding went to the net, so there will be another penalty. And the Penguins will get a two-man advantage.
Didn't look like much of a trip. Dupre turned it to his right, his forehand. And Brouwer's going to go to the box. Take a look. Right at the last second, he turns it back this way. Yeah, you can see the left skate go out from Brouwer. Kind of that reactionary thingy. Penguins have already used their timeout. And now 34 seconds of 5-on-3 here.
This game could completely turn around here.
Oh, yeah.
If Penguins get one here before the first penalty expires, they'd have another power play to work with. That's why the power play is so crucial for the Penguins right now. Here's Crosby centering. It's off a leg. He just threw it right into the middle. Let's see if Malkin can keep it in. Brought back to center and dumped back up into the Penguin zone by the Capitals. Here goes Letang out of his own zone. Letang comes to center ice with 12 seconds to go on the two-man advantage. Kunitz for Letang, and he was in too tight to be able to slip it behind Holtby. Now they battle for the puck, and the Penguins keep it. It's Malkin closing in. Crosby, a shot, his stick shattered, and he throws the part that he had in his hand against the board. Letang to Kunitz. First penalty's over. Kunitz's shot off the side of the goal. Karlsson slaps it down the ice. Crosby just coming back onto the ice with a new stick. Tried to reach the puck as it came through, but he goes to the bench. And the Penguins put a second power play unit on here with 1:06 to go on the penalty to Brouwer for tripping Simon Dupre. Malkin, Sutter. Back pass, and Backstrom is going to go get it. Beagle heads to the net. Backstrom cuts into the middle. Backstrom holds it. Nicholas Backstrom. Malkin gets over to take it away for Gotch. 45 seconds to go on the penalty. Simon Dupre. Ryan Rust into the Washington zone. Rust pulls up. Looks back for Bortuzzo and instead turns back towards the net. Finds a man coming to the back door. And Holtby makes a tremendous save on Bobby Farnham. That was maybe the best save he's made tonight. Farnham out of nowhere coming off the bench. And Holtby somehow found him just in time. 14 seconds left on the penalty. Here goes Rust.
I don't even know if Bobby Farnham got that on net stay. He has well, he may have. I mean, the goaltender was coming back, Holtby coming back the other way, but he had the whole half of the net and the short side open. I don't know. I wasn't sure.
I'm not sure now either. I'm never really totally sure from all the way up here, but it certainly looked like he made a great save. Harrington with a shot. Now here's Ebbett to the corner. Mike Green sends it up the wall. Beagle there. Now Lyke banks it off the boards to center. And it comes back to Scott Harrington in his own zone. So the Penguins do not cash in on the two-man advantage. More good penalty killing for the Capitals.
And a couple of broken sticks for the Penguins and a missed opportunity by Farnham along the way.
Yep, I'd like to see that one again. Thought he stopped him. Now back in behind the net. It is Kuznetsov. He centers back out to the stick of Wilson, who was cross-body blocked that time by Andrew Ebbett, who's got the puck now at center ice. Ebbett is hit on the near wall. Niskanen sends it behind the net. Wilson has it now for Washington. This game was very physical to start. 33 hits in the first period. And the Capitals scored that all-important first goal. And they've added 2 more. Stepping up to steal is Carlson, who dumps it into the Penguin zone.
Well, the defense has stood up all night long. It's been a smothering offense or defense for the Capitals with a lot of back pressure from the forwards and good standing up from the defense.
Malkin looking for the return pass from Crosby. Kunis took a crack at it. Malkin just got knocked down in front of the Washington goal. Alsner knocked him down. Now Wilson shoots for the empty net. Fleury's on the bench. Penguins trying to get that next one here to make it 3-1. They've taken Fleury off the ice. They have the extra attacker on. Malkin with it. Malkin, Crosby, and Sutter up front for the Penguins. Scuderi and Dupre are back, and Kunis also up front. 6 attackers for the Penguins. The Capitals clear.
Yeah, they changed the netminder with just under that 3-minute mark. Did the Penguins a little surprise maneuver?
Puck gets dumped in by Crosby. All the way over to Simon Dupre. He's hit by Niskanen. Niskanen turns out of that check. Backstrom follows on. Dupre trying to keep it in the offensive zone. And the Capitals force it back to center where Derek Pouliot has it. Now to Sidney Crosby. Back to Pouliot with 2 minutes even remaining in regulation time. The Penguins down by 3. Centering pass, Megna goes off his stick. Holtby kept it going. And the Capitals just bank it away.
Smart play. And the referee gave him that. He just swept it away with the glove.
Magna couldn't take the pass cleanly. Brooks Lake with it. Into the middle now. Eric Fair looking for the hat trick, but he couldn't shoot the puck. Marcel Gotch pulls up. Finds Rust into the Washington zone. Rust shoots it off a stick wide. Empty net for a long time. The Capitals haven't even had an attempt at that empty net yet. This is Magna with it now, holding it in. He'll send it back in behind for Rust. 1:18 to go. Shot to the goal, gloved by Holtby. And he holds on to it.
Well, we'll see. Mike Johnson might put the goaltender back in now. I don't know if they can get 3, and that's where Fleury is going to go back on. Holtby has been magnificent for the Washington Capitals in the game. 33 shots, 33 saves. That one there on the 2-on-1 stopped Ebbett. He stopped Crosby a couple of times from in tight. He stopped Malkin here in the third period, really square to the shooter. And on that power play, that one-timer by Malkin knuckled hard into the glove of Holtby, who's been razor sharp. He's been right there in minimal, really, motion and no second opportunities for the Penguins. It's all been first cracks. One and done for Pittsburgh here, and Holtby's been really good with that trapper, especially. That glove hand has been exceptional.
Less than a minute remaining in the game. Linkhammer with it. A break here for the folks at home. Stay in here and coming back for a moment at the end of the game. 46 seconds to go in regulation. Farnham's going to get a penalty. By the way, Holtby did get a piece of that shot by Farnham. Not sure if it was on the net or not, but Farnham now going to the penalty box where he's going to take a familiar seat.
Pittsburgh 34, minor penalty, high stick.
Farnham just trying to get to that puck with a stick up.
Penguins have not lost 2 games in a row in regulation all year. They lost the last game at Tampa Bay 4-3, and with 35 seconds left in this one, they're down 3-0. This will be the first time this season that the Penguins have lost 2 straight in regulation. And you have to look at the injuries. And they lost a key player in this game, Patrick Hornquist, was lost to injury. It's just been torture for the Penguins here. Very similar to what we had last year. Thought we'd seen the end of it. Here's Scuderi now, clearing it off the boards and back to center. 10 seconds to go in the hockey game. Eric Fair's on the ice. He'd love to get a hat trick if he could. Ovechkin knocks it out of midair. It's almost scored before the horn.
Yeah, and he was able to somehow keep the stick under the crossbar in batting the puck 3 times on his stick and actually getting a shot against Marc-Andre Fleury at the end of this hockey game. 1 over the shoulder, under the crossbar, and that, yes, would have counted. Everything's catching up to the Penguins right now. Even Braden Holtby caught up with everything. 31 saves, his 3rd shutout, and Staggy, that's it for the Penguins. They were shut out.
And we shall return in a moment. The Washington Capitals, Brooks Orpik and Matt Niskanen with a return visit to Pittsburgh and a very successful one for them. We'll be back.